All right, well, Lifemaxxing actually makes you a loser. And this is a huge one because it was like an illusion. I was also like chasing back then in my early days of business. And now after making like more than seven figures, building multiple businesses, I can say it's a lie, it's a trap. And if you follow it, you're going to basically set up for like a really brutal awakening. And this video is just going to spare the awakening. So right now you have this big bubble of like self-improvement content and people just like go down all these roads of like Lifemaxxing, looks maxing, whatever. There's like this like video game like tweeting of life. So basically, think, okay, I'm just going to focus on singular traits of myself, drive them up, and then I'm going to get everything I want from life. And this becomes an obsession that it's not only unhealthy, but also like drives you in a completely wrong direction. Because what you're doing in most instances, in this instance, you're optimizing a life that hasn't even started. Because usually there's like younger guys, at least that had been me back then, and it's like if you just like over obsess about this, you don't even know yet what it actually means to be like good in specific areas of life. So it's just like you chase an illusion that some YouTuber gives you, and this doesn't matter if it's like fitness or if it's a business or if it's like this entire looks making stuff. It's just like it drives you down a path where you're basically not only like more confused than when you started, but also like taking aggressive action every day that basically just like needs to nowhere because it doesn't fit together. So the biggest trap is actually the entire philosophy behind it, because you just like think, okay, have like these different stats, I'm going to drive each of them up and then I'm winning in life, but it is different. So this just like leads you down to making the fatal mistake of treating people like NPCs. So for example, you want to money max, like you want to get a lot of money, just like have the flexi lifestyle. You want to relationship max, where you then like get all the women. So basically, you just like treat people as NPCs because you only look at your own stats, basically how you can get what you want from others. So you basically see every human relation as a transaction, which it kind of is, but this is like leads you down a really, really toxic path because you just like only focus on yourself and you're really ignoring what the other people want. And this just like not only leads to like kind of getting worse results in other areas that you got before, but also at the same time you just like make fatal mistakes that can cost you everything in the long run. So for example, what you see then is like people building this like hustle culture businesses. So for example, you have like dropshippers who like don't care about anyone, and just like ship out shitty products for a quick buck. I know that because I started back then in business and it led to a lot of struggle in the long run. And you have like these gurus, these 997 courses, like repackaged knowledge that doesn't have anyone, but they only just like want to make money for themselves. It's like OnlyFans people just like do all kind of degenerated stuff. I know this because I know some people who run these kind of agencies. And it's like leads you down the path of being like more and more miserable. And all because you just like only try to level this one stat, but you basically ignore everything around it. And ethics actually plays a huge part in that. And this is like isn't tracked, but it's a huge one. Because if you don't treat it that way and just like only care about themselves, you're basically setting yourself up for a really brutal awakening, which is like means you're then going to get to a point where it's just like it all falls apart and then you like have worse stats than before. Because then you have to like deal with this crashing, burning business you have built for yourself. And then at the same time, you just like it goes on your psyche, it goes on your hearts, goes in your relationships, and then like everything goes down. You're like worse off than you have been before because you just started everything with a wrong mentality. So how should you actually approach it? Because there's like some truths to where this comes from, like leveling up in life is a good thing, and basically also like realizing that people just like only care about themselves is also like a good thing. So now how can you use this to your advantage? It's pretty straightforward. You basically just like, instead of focusing on your own stats, you just like have to look at other people's stats. And it doesn't matter if it's like in business or if it's in life, so like relationships. You just like have to look at what other people are lacking, because everyone is always lacking something. They have a lack. They focus on improving one stat or one thing, which like then people refer to like life maxing. And how you can actually succeed is basically just like go in there and help them level up there. So instead of like focusing on your own metrics, just like help other people level up there. You can do this as an agency owner in business where people have that, like you can do this with relationships, you can do this with everything. And this changes the game, because then you suddenly become a really valuable individual, and being a really valuable individual in society suddenly gets you what you want. And by doing that, you, surprise, surprise, also like drive up your own stats. So this is like a little controversial maybe, but in the end, you just drive your own stats by driving other people's stats up. And the more you can drive other people's stats up, so the more you can drive impact in the world, the better the life is going to be. So it's actually not about like optimizing your own stats, it's about making the most impact, and making the most impact ultimately leads us down to having the most purpose. So basically just like making a good and positive impact. So you actually have to start with the end in mind. So basically, okay, where do you want to go in life? And I'm pretty sure you don't want to be a scammer or someone who's like called a narcissist or someone who just like only thinking about himself. I think you want to be a well integrated individual who has like great relationships and everything in check. And therefore, you can't ignore ethics because if you will, it will fall on your feet. So the core message of this is basically to like stop being a narcissist and actually help others win. Because if you help others, then basically by default you help yourself. And that's the actual message here. So self-improvement is basically just like, okay, how do you become the most valuable individual for people around you? Because if you can do that, then by default, you're going to get there. And what get you there is like watching this videos or like self-improvement. And what for sure won't get you there is like any sort of looks maxing or stuff. So like if I just improve my looks and like I'm just like the most handsome looking guy, then what the fuck? Like it's going to do absolutely nothing because it doesn't make you valuable. And just like instead of doing that stuff, just like focus on providing value, helping other people. Because if you help them win, then you're also going to win by default. And I really wanted to make this video because you see it everywhere. Just like you see guys, like especially young guys, like running in the wrong direction because they just like don't know better. Because a lot of people don't know what they want in life. They don't know what they want to do long term, which is totally reasonable. Was like the same for me back then. And then you just like look for anchors. So just like look around and see, okay, what can I refer to? And just like look for guidance. But this is so difficult. So just like instead of doing that, just like take like one step at a time and also like ask yourself the question, am I actually providing some genuine value here to someone? And if that's the case, perfect. And that's basically just a life and getting to where you want to live. Doesn't matter if it's like business relationships, whatever. It's like a chain of these small actions that just like lead you down the route of basically just like getting where you want. And you also can start small with that. You don't have to do like anything crazy. You don't have to like build a major business. You just like have to take it one step at a time. And then if you do this like 2 or 3 years, you basically will get there. And that's not sound like really, yeah, that's not what I want to hear, but that's how life works. So life is hard. Everybody is kind of egoistical. And if you actually want to go out there, you just like have to become valuable. And if you're valuable for a long time, and you have to over time obtain leverage, which basically just like means you become valuable to more people over time at the same time, which just like means, okay, you got better. And the more people you help, the better you will often be off in society. Because if you look at it, like the people who are actually like genuinely fulfilled, they always have like the same 3 areas in their lives at the same check. So first of all, you have to get yourself in check, which is the self, is like the bottom of the pyramid. And that just like comes down to like basic health, getting some basic money game in place that you can eat. And most people are like stuck in that place, and that's why it's also like so difficult, because that place you hate your life. And it's really difficult to focus on anything long term, but you have to force yourself to break out of that mud and basically at least like align with something that, okay, that gets you to the next level, but also like gets you there long term, that you don't like was off for then after like 2 years. And then basically once you got that dialed, you basically can focus on your closer community, like people you know, providing value to them, because they will provide value to you. You will get what you want. And then basically on top of that is like impact. So big actual people. And what ties all of this together is purpose, which just like means it's Latin word, but it's like comes down to like having one point you're focused on at the time. And that leads us down to the actual core point of the video, which is the point of life is to give it a point. And at any given point, this can be something different for you. Maybe it's like something in regards to family, and like something in regards to like making money, building any business, doing whatever. But you always have to have a point where you're steering towards. And the reason why you're like feeling empty and like life is all chaotic isn't because you don't know what to do, because like this is like pretty straightforward. It's like it comes down that you feel no purpose and just like have to pick something, commit to it, and just like take it one step at a time. And life is like a chaotic journey. So you might go from starting to helping out your some of the local business, like founding your own agency, to then from there starting your own software, whatever. It's like it's a chaotic journey. It's like just also important that you have a point in mind you want to get to from where you're at. And the reason why you're floating around watching this startup content is because you have no purpose. You haven't decided on what to do, and you just like have to put aim on something that you know. Okay, this is going to help other people. By helping other people, I'm going to level up my own stats. And then from there, basically, you should just aim at it and put all your work in. You, by default, going to improve yourself. Because the greatest asset you're always going to create in this like entire process is yourself. And the work needs doing. And the work works way more on you than you think. Although the work works more on you than you work on the work. So if by just like doing that and just like showing up every single day, you're just going to get there eventually. And I just realized that I just like wasted so much time watching all these videos, trying all these tactics. They don't need to know where. It's just like for people who want to make a quick buck with like YouTube ad revenue, that's it. But it's not generally helpful. And if you look at it, most of the time, these people who make these videos haven't even generally arrived at their destination by themselves. So a few parts of their lives, you should analyze it like a shit show. So either like a guru, they don't have the relationships together, or basically don't make any impact. They're just like all for themselves, like big narcissists. So how can you learn from someone who hasn't even figured it out themselves? I don't want to say I figured it out. It's like can say that what I just explained in this video feels right, and I walked through all the stages, and just like wanted to share it because I think it's genuinely helpful. So do with that whatever you wish, and yeah, stop being a narcissist and go help some people because then you're going to get where you want in life. And it's the boring truth, but that's how that works.